Thanks a lot for joining us today for our launch event. There's just a handful of big tech companies who control all our data. This is a problem with corporate surveillance, which is threatening our privacy. Democracy and autonomy of countries is also at risk. And this locks in businesses, home users, increases just the cost, and adds risk for all of us. Our goal and mission at Nextcloud is still the same. We want to put you in control over your data. What is needed are several things. First of all, privacy. Just imagine you want to share your photos with your friends and family, but you should be the only person who has access to it, no one else. This is a fundamental human right. The next thing that's needed is transparency and trust. We want to know who makes the software, who controls it, why and how, who can study it, who can change it, who can improve it. These are, of course, also the fundamental principles of open source, which are super important for us here at Nextcloud. Then ownership is the next question. Who actually owns the devices? Who owns the software? Who decides where it runs? Safety and security is the next challenge. And this is only possible with open source. And this is also only possible with a worldwide international community working together at Nextcloud. But now let's talk about Nextcloud, the solution. This is a privacy-first collaboration platform with a complete digital workspace, everything you need to do to work together over the internet with other people. Everything is under your control, and we stick to our key principles, like the data stays with you and organizations that create it. Nextcloud is deployed all over the world, used by tens of millions of individuals and organizations. In 2025 alone, we rolled out several hundred thousand, sometimes millions of new digital workspaces each month. 4 things make Nextcloud Hub special. First, you own it. You decide where it's running and who has control over it. Second, it is secure. You can really make sure that you're the only person who controls the data. Third, it's powerful and flexible. And fourth, it's easy to use. With this release, we made improvements in each of those areas. But let me hand over to the team to show you all about it.
I'll give you a clap. I don't know if it makes a difference. Hi, I'm Jos, the Comms VP and a co-founder at Nextcloud. And I'm excited to walk you through the latest version of Nextcloud Hub. Frank already told you that it's time to rethink the collaboration setups in your organization and why Nextcloud is rolling out at large scale. Right now, organizations need control over their data, and we will discuss what that means in practice with this release. Now, Nextcloud Hub 26 Winter brings a lot of improvements, and a lot of these have to do with control. But first, to really understand what sets Nextcloud apart, we need to start with the fundamentals. So let me hand over to Heike, and she will explain the meaning of true data ownership.
Thank you, Jos. First, let's talk about ownership. This is a core principle at Nextcloud. You keep ownership over your data. But what does this technically mean? It means you decide where your Nextcloud Hub is. You can host where you want and how you want. At home, in your own data center, or at a trusted partner like Ionos or Bechtle, for example. And because you're in control, you can always take out data and move it somewhere else. Many of the big tech vendors push you into their cloud. This is in their benefit, because when your data is in their data center, you are stuck. When prices rise, you pay. When regulations change or international tariffs kick in, the risk is yours. That is different with Nextcloud. Moving your entire server from one vendor to another has always been possible. Simply take a backup of your files and database and import them into the new location. We also offer a user export and import feature. So for example, if you are moving your personal Nextcloud instance, say from one hosting provider to another, or from one hosted service to your own home server, you can easily export and import all your data. With this release, we expanded this export and import functionality even further. The export now includes more data, like your email account settings, as well as your calendar and contact data. Data from the tables and deck apps can also be exported and imported. Both apps already had export functions. For example, you could export a deck project containing all its tasks and import it as a new project. Or you could export table data to a spreadsheet file for your desktop Office application. But there was a catch, especially with tables. When you export to a CVS file, some details get lost. Things like your custom views or individual filter settings simply don't make it into that basic CVS format. In Hub 26, we have improved this. Now these customizations are preserved when you export and import, so you keep your complete setup, not just the raw data. So that's what ownership means in practice: full control over your data and how you use it. Jos will now show you how we extend this control even further with federation.
Now, control doesn't mean much if you cannot share files or collaborate with external parties, of course. And for most organizations, collaboration does not end at the organizational border. Departments work with each other, agencies are included in projects, external partners maybe need access to specific information. Now, centralized services only allow you to work within a closed ecosystem. If you need to bring in an external party, you will have to give them guest accounts on your platform, or you need to create a separate structure just for the collaboration project. And maybe you've tried sharing files from Dropbox to Google Drive or sending a message from iMessage to WhatsApp. And maybe you've tried to join a Microsoft Teams chat from Slack. Now, these are of course designed not to work. But you can send an email from Gmail to Hotmail and forward it to your corporate mail. And you can call from any telephone provider to any network. So you're actually familiar with federation and what it is and how it works, because that is what it is. It means not being locked into a single provider, but being able to work with whomever you want. And this is essentially how federation also works in Nextcloud. So everyone can use their own Nextcloud service. Maybe the Ministry of Interior in your country runs a Nextcloud setup, the Ministry of Education runs a Nextcloud setup, and yet civil servants from each of these will be able to collaborate with each other thanks to federation in Nextcloud. For example, you can invite somebody from outside your organization into a talk chat. Just use their account at a different Nextcloud server. And this way, they are just going to be in that chat. You don't send a public link to someone, you don't need to create a guest account. It is super easy and convenient, but also more secure. And similarly, you can share a file in the file sharing dialog by just entering their federated ID. Think of it as an email address. And the recipient will receive the share in their file list just like they get other shares from other people on the same server. It doesn't matter that it is shared from another server. You'll be able to seamlessly work together. And yet you know when you share, you're sharing with a specific person, not sharing a public link. With this release, we extended our federation capabilities further by enabling federated users to be added to teams. Nextcloud Teams is designed to facilitate collaboration by making it easy for anyone to create and manage custom groups. For example, when you start a project, you create a team, you add some of your colleagues to it. Now you can even make this team visible to other people in your organization so they can join at will, or you can assign another team member to help manage it and allow people in or invite other people. Then you can share resources with this team like documents, folders, chat rooms, calendars, or tasks. And administrators can even assign a team folder with a storage quota to a team. That way, ownership is shared, not individual. If needed, very fine-grained permissions can be configured by an administrator or by a team of people as well. Thanks to the federation support for teams in Nextcloud Hub 26, a team can have members across different servers. This will of course simplify project-based collaboration between different organizations. So a file can be shared to a team and all the members, even on different servers, will be able to get access to it. Now, Nextcloud Office already has support for federated collaboration as well. So if you are on one server and you're editing a document, then a person that the file is shared with from a different organization will be able to join you in the document and you can collaboratively edit it just like if it was with people on the same server. Now with this release, this collaboration is even protected by federated file locking. That means if you're on your desktop and you're locally editing a document, the desktop client will tell the server that you're working on the file, which will lock the file on the server. And if this file is shared in a federated way to somebody in a different organization, when they try to open the file, they will also be notified that the file is locked and that you are working on it. Of course, you can then together open the file in Nextcloud Office and work on it together at the same time. Now, when coordinating, you of course want to plan and track meetings. In our previous release, we made it possible to share a calendar to somebody on a different server. But this was read-only, and with this release, we make full shared calendars possible. So you can share a calendar, and then the person on the other side can also add their own meetings into the calendar. Of course, the next step of this would be tasks. And yes, for this release, Nextcloud Deck, our built-in Kanban apps for tasks and planning, can now be used across servers. You can invite people from a different organization, from a partner, and have everybody work together on a deck board. You can assign tasks, everybody can create tasks, add their documents to it, etc. And this way, planning and coordination between organizations becomes super easy. So, summarizing, collaboration with people from different organizations becomes a lot more connected and practical with Nextcloud Hub 26 Winter. At the same time, your control, accountability are still clearly defined, your security is even improved by this, and data stays exactly where you need it to be.
That brings us to the next topic. Nextcloud is designed for environments where security and compliance matter. Many governmental organizations, critical infrastructure, and educational institutions rely on Nextcloud for secure private collaboration. Those organizations need technology that can be integrated into their existing security and compliance frameworks, and that meets high requirements for data protection and access control. Nextcloud is designed for these requirements. It supports strict rules around data protection and access control. It offers end-to-end encryption and automated confidential file handling. It can even run in an air-gapped environment, completely disconnected from the public internet, while still enabling teams to collaborate over the local network. With our latest release, Nextcloud has improved end-to-end encryption to keep your data protected at all times. End-to-end encryption is designed for cases where you might not fully want to trust the server. For example, an HR department can store and share applicants' resumes in an end-to-end encrypted folder to meet privacy regulations. Even though the administration team has access to the server, they would not be able to access files in this folder. A key point about end-to-end encryption is that it works on a per-folder basis. Most organizations have compliance requirements. They need to track data access and ownership for auditing. Blocking auditing access to all data is not acceptable. To ensure data cannot be accessed by the server, end-to-end encryption will encrypt the data on the mobile or desktop clients before uploading it to the server. However, for some use cases, access in the browser is required. With this release, we expanded the support of end-to-end encryption in the browser. You can now set up end-to-end encryption in the browser, share, read, edit documents, receive documents through an encrypted file drop, and even share through public links. To add further protection to data beyond user-level sharing permissions, Nextcloud offers security classification labels. It can automatically apply labels based on document properties or embedded metadata through the confidential file feature. This can be used to restrict access to unauthorized users, as well as support various automations with Nextcloud Flow. With this release, we have made labels smarter. When the document properties change, the system reassesses which security labels should apply. Tags are automatically removed or modified to match the current security definitions.
Now, let's talk a little bit about design and ease of use. So studies show that you sometimes switch over 1,000 times between different tools on a single day, and that can easily waste an hour of time. Time that you are using to refocus, adapt, and, well, get tired. So having everything in a single place matters. And Nextcloud is designed to reduce context switching, to have fewer manual steps and bring everything in one place in an intuitive way. Because files, communication, collaboration, all these things shouldn't require you to be switching all the time. Let's have a look at how this works in practice. Now, Nextcloud Talk is becoming a very central way for people to work together. So you share a document in the talk room, so everybody who is there in the room collaborating, maybe your project team, has access to it and can work on the document together. They can do it during a call or just separately, and they don't need to move to a different application or leave the browser. Now, you can also attach this to a task, maybe in Deck, a Kanban app. You can share this task into the talk chat as well. You can even turn a chat message into another task on the Kanban board. And again, when people are editing the document attached to the task, they'll be editing that very same document that you shared into the room. While in the room, you can see the availability of other people, you can see the upcoming meetings from the calendar, and you can even schedule a new meeting so that all the members are invited that are in the chat room, and you can see upcoming meetings by clicking on top there. So everything is brought in a single place, and you don't need to be switching tasks all the time. Now, consolidating tools this way simplifies not just the way you work as a person working with other people together, but it also helps the system administrator. It simplifies operation. It, of course, helps with security as well as compliance. And this should be obvious. If you have a lot of different tools, that means you need to know a lot of different technology stacks, and you need to scale in all these different ways and allow all these tools to be able to communicate with each other, which, of course, as scale becomes quite complicated and slowing everything down. And of course, more tools means a bigger attack surface for external people who might have malicious intent and try to hack your system. So with Nextcloud, you can consolidate. You can bring everything in one place, help your employees, make it easier to configure, manage, and control, make it easier to scale, and make it more secure. That is what Nextcloud makes possible for you.
Software should be usable everywhere and by everyone. It should be accessible from any location, browser, and OS. We consistently study how people use Nextcloud on different devices, and so we try to make the experience perfect. It's in details. For example, in the Nextcloud Files app, we have done a toolbar design adjustment for various screen formats and worked on the filtering UI. To make it easier to add your Nextcloud account on your mobile devices, we added a QR code in the user menu. Click on the icon, scan the code from the Nextcloud Talk or Files app on your phone, and your account is set up. A second important principle is software should get out of the way and do things automatically instead of offering overwhelming configurations. Nextcloud Mail, for example, works in a simple way, but lets you do a lot. You can enjoy an intuitive inbox with summaries, suggested replies, and follow-ups. Or, if you wish, you can apply advanced filtering to search messages or set up bulk automations with quick actions. In Nextcloud Hub 26 Winter, your email attachments are now visible at a glance in your threads. And approved filters can help find relevant emails quickly with least possible manual work. Now, with an even more intuitive interface. There are lots of small improvements, but they add up in daily work. One more principle is to always try and fix the root problem, not just the settings. We added a lot of improvements in how existing features work. For example, more intuitive icons and wording in your email folders. And we improved the interface of the AI assistant, adding a configurable memory. And where things need customization, we provide settings on both admin and personal level to get the best Nextcloud experience. These settings were cleaned up and reorganized a bit to make them easier to find. And speaking about customization, Jos will now show you how Nextcloud Hub's flexibility goes beyond just settings to adapt to your entire team's workflow.
So Nextcloud Hub is designed to adapt to different ways of working. For example, if you travel a lot, you will encounter a lot of unstable networks, maybe at a hotel or, in German trains. And with Nextcloud Hub 26 Winter, it'll be a little bit easier for you because our collaborative text editor text, as well as our knowledge-based collectives, have both been adapted to work better with bad network. So they will both allow you to keep working even when the network is down for some seconds or even up to a minute. And when you go back, they will sync those changes back, merge everything, even if you're working together with other people. And with the clients, both mobile and desktop, fully offline features are also available. So for example, in Nextcloud Talk, you can browse all the chats, even if you have momentarily no network. And the mobile, the desktop files apps, they will both let you navigate folders, and all the files that are stored locally, you'll be able to edit. And all the changes will then be synced back when you go back online, for example, when, you arrive at your end station or from the hotel Wi-Fi when you land. I specifically want to shout out for this release all the changes that were done to the Nextcloud Whiteboard. And you use this for brainstorming, workshops, training, even giving presentations as a very nice integration in Nextcloud. For example, you can add documents, and using the Nextcloud Assistant, you can describe a flow, and it will create a flow chart, insert it in the whiteboard, so you can then edit and change the flow. So that's a really nice feature, I think. And with this release, we're introducing a lot of other improvements. So for example, there's now a built-in timer that lets you, for example, if you're working with a group of people, you can split the work. You set the timer, say, okay, let's get back together. Everyone, after 5 minutes, everybody can see the timer. You can just position it there. And then, everybody gets back when the timer basically beeps, and everybody will always know how much time they have left. Another nice new thing is polls. So you can create a poll with a number of different questions. Everybody can vote. And you can even post the results in the whiteboard, so you can keep track later on what the outcome of the poll was. Maybe a month later you do another poll, and you can see the differences between the two. It's now possible to comment on every object, so all the things you've added, including the polls I just mentioned, you can give a comment on them. This, of course, really helps it, to refine project that you're planning in the whiteboard, for example. You can now insert emojis, maybe use them to react on different items. You can insert tables, so just enter different data. The table gets inserted in the whiteboard. You can then place it, remove it, resize it, etc. And last thing we did for this release is to improve the versioning. So you can roll back or compare the previous versions of the whiteboard. And this of course helps you get back perhaps something that was deleted by accident by somebody. It'll still be in the previous version. And just like always, versioning in Nextcloud allows you to name a specific version, so this gets retained, well, as long as you want. And you can also compare two different versions side by side. So it's a very powerful feature there. Now, I already mentioned AI, and today for most organizations, AI is no longer a question of if, but how. If you do not provide a secure AI solution to your employees, they will probably be using something like ChatGPT and essentially leaking critical information on public AI services. So, good news is that Nextcloud offers integrated AI solution that is really designed to protect your data because it can run on premises wherever you want. And rather than forcing your employees to use like a separate chat window and then copy paste information between the application from the company they're using and the secure or not chat application that you're using, maybe with some rules they cannot copy certain data. Instead of having such an awkward setup, the Nextcloud Assistant is really integrated in Nextcloud. So yes, it can perform kind of standard tasks like text and media generation, but it can also answer questions about your data because it has access to all the documents, the knowledge base, chat, email, etc. So users can just say, hey, what is our internal process for travel support? Or, what are the last chat messages in a certain chat? Or, did I get certain tasks last week via email from my manager? So all of this is really integrated. There are also many apps from which you can access the Nextcloud Assistant. It can help you out with email. For example, the Nextcloud Assistant can remind you when you didn't follow up on an email. If somebody sent you a question, you might have missed it in the flood of email. Then the Assistant will put that email on top and remind you to do a follow-up. It can also summarize email discussions, recommend answers for you. So it's a really easy way to help you in your email and be more efficient. It's also available in Talk. So for example, it can summarize chats. It can generate text for you there, translate, for example. It will make summaries of meetings. So if you have a call, at the end, you can get an AI-generated transcript of it. You can create a summary out of that as well. And there are live subtitles available with Nextcloud Talk. So when you're in a call, sometimes somebody might be hard to understand. The subtitles can help with that. And with Nextcloud Hub 26 Winter, we're even adding live translation to this. So you're in a call, you speak French, the other person speaks English, you can both speak your own language, because a live translation will make sure that you can both understand each other. You just read the subtitles essentially. So this is of course super convenient and helpful if you work in an organization with people with different languages or have external calls and are bothered by a language barrier there. Another change that comes with this release is that we added very clear labeling of AI-generated content. With the previous release, we made sure that whenever somebody is using an AI feature in Nextcloud, it's always very visible. We use a separate color. It's more purple looking, so people know like, oh, this is an AI generated summary. This is an AI generated answer. But of course, if you generate text or an image and send that, it would be good if the recipient is also aware that this was generated by AI and not by a human. For this release, we also made it easier to access the Nextcloud Assistant from mobile and desktop applications. In the end, modern organizations need a sovereign AI solution that can actually protect their data and comply with all the regulations that government organizations, for example, have to deal with. And Nextcloud allows you to benefit from AI-supported collaboration without handing over your data to somebody else, because you can host it on-premise or at a trusted organization. As an example, the German state of Schleswig-Holstein is running their own customer AI for the state administration, pioneering AI adoption in the heavily regulated public sector. And the state has been working with Nextcloud to improve the assistant for their use as a public organization. Now, I just mentioned our clients. They help you access and collaborate, of course, on all your devices, phone, Android, tablet, and you can share documents, use the offline sync or virtual file system. You can chat, join video calls on your phone or on the desktop with Nextcloud Talk, access your notes, and much more. In this release, we're introducing something new for all the clients: dynamic menu actions, accessible on files. It's accessible both on the desktop and on mobile, and is driven by functionality on the Nextcloud server. In the context menu, you can, on an Office document, convert it to Markdown. You can, for audio files, create a transcript, use the Nextcloud Assistant. You can zip a file or a folder. You can import address book data into the default address book on Nextcloud, and more. So these things are just activities, actions you can do on a file, accessible from mobile, desktop, etc. But because they're provided by the server, more functionality can be added. And these examples are just the start. We're looking forward to all the new features that our app developer community will add to the Nextcloud server. Now, let's talk about scaling Nextcloud. Nextcloud has become an extraordinarily powerful collaboration platform. It is far ahead of any competing solution that you can host on your own servers. That, of course, explains why it's adopted so widely, with all these deployments happening every month, some in the hundreds of thousands of users range. Last year alone, more than 1 million users were provided with a digital sovereign desktop provided with Nextcloud. Now, Nextcloud is a deeply integrated platform, as I already explained. And you can share a file in the chat, you can assign chat message as a task, you can see upcoming meetings, and so on. And this is expanding beyond pure Nextcloud apps itself. Nextcloud is part of a much bigger ecosystem. It is built by a huge community of partners, customers, and individual contributors. Now, we need to continue to enable this community to innovate and to ensure that we can bring all this information in one place in real time. That is a unique challenge. However, Nextcloud is also uniquely suited to deliver on that challenge. So a couple of weeks ago, we shared in a blog post details on the significant rewrite of a database and file access architecture we have been working on. The new architecture, ADA, is designed to help Nextcloud continue to scale and be the basis for the future of sovereign collaboration. Now, ADA stands for Accelerated Direct Access, and I'll have a look at what that means next. But of course, it is also a homage to Ada Lovelace, who is widely recognized as the first computer programmer. Now, the rewrite enables more direct access of data, both through changes to the database as well as to changes in the file storage architecture, and through a number of components written in Rust and Go that allow the clients to get direct access to data on the server. Our customer Magenta Cloud serves as a great example, both for the impact of the scalability work we do, as well as the importance of collaboration. Based on performance logs that were provided by them, our team has been making a series of changes that reduce the average time it would take to download a 10 megabyte file on the Magenta Cloud by about 5 times. And there were many other operations that were sped up by a similar amount. And like several other customers, Magenta Cloud is not only providing us with input and asking for features, but they are also employing a team of engineers that works directly on the Nextcloud code base, together with our wider community, building features that they are then delivering to their customers, as well as, of course, benefiting the entire community. So let's close off this performance part. So there were the changes from the Ada engine. And in this release, this will be felt, especially at scale. Improvements like 60% faster retrieval of shared folders, for example. Of course, it's hard to measure the exact impact of this, because it will depend on the specific server and the setup that you have, different databases, different file systems, and so on. But the ADA engine is also a foundation for the future. We will have other ideas and other improvements we're already working on and planning that will bring more performance improvements and scalability improvements to the coming releases. So this will continue to be felt over time. Please go read our blog for all the technical details, and of course let us know what you think and what your experiences are with the new Nextcloud Hub. Before I hand back to Heike, there's one last little thing. As I said before, Nextcloud is very flexible and is designed not to lock you in. So choice is important there. And there are multiple apps that can do the same thing. For example, there's a Photos app, but there's also the Memories app that you can find on the App Store that you can use if you prefer it. And there are also multiple Office solutions. Now in this release, we make choosing and switching between Office solutions easier for the users of our All-in-One. The All-in-One is very popular. It has almost 100,000 installations. So this is a very good way to give all those people an easier way to access the different Office suites and try them out.
We started this presentation talking about ownership, about being in control, deciding where your data is. So at this point, you might be wondering when you can get started with this new release and how. As you might know, we make Nextcloud together with our amazing community, but we do not host it. The new Nextcloud is available today, and it's up to you to decide how you want to use it. You can go to one of our fantastic partners, including major telecom and service providers like KPN in the Netherlands or IONOS and Deutsche Telekom in Germany, and get a digital workspace ready to go. You can go with a hosted private cloud, basically your own Nextcloud, managed by a partner in a data center you trust. And if your trusted data center is an old desktop turned server in your living room, grab our all-in-one Docker image and get started today. Or if your data center is not in your own home, our enterprise all-in-one is ready to run on your Kubernetes cluster. In all these cases, Nextcloud puts you in control. But Nextcloud is not alone. Many applications have been built on our platform, and a large ecosystem has grown around it. In Nextcloud Hub, we have own apps like Nextcloud Files or Nextcloud Talk, and we partner with many others to create an integrated system of application and services. You can integrate countless open source apps such as Mattermost, Moodle, XWiki, Big Blue Button, Open Project, as well as web services like Collarboard, WebEx, Notion, Miro, and many more. And as we know, the world is dominated by monopolies like that of Microsoft. We also feature a number of integrations with their ecosystem. Outlook add-in, and now also add-in for Apple Mail, Exchange Connector, which syncs calendar and contact data between Nextcloud and Exchange, Microsoft Teams integration, more about that in a moment, Windows Network Drive, SharePoint, and other storage solutions, Active Directory or Microsoft Entra for identity and access management, and even Microsoft Office Online. You might by now no longer believe what big tech likes to say. There is no alternative. Sovereign collaboration is not a theoretical concept. Nextcloud is used already by thousands of organizations of different sizes, governments and educational institutions, all over the world. In 2025, more than 100,000 people began using their first sovereign Nextcloud-based workplace in the public sector alone, every single month. Ministries, cities, states, parliaments, policy departments, and municipalities. And they move faster than you might think. Our wide ecosystem of integration allows for gradual low-friction introduction of sovereign technologies in the digital workplace. Teams start with a specific use case, migrate data incrementally, and run systems in parallel for as long as needed. This reduces risk and gives organizations time to adapt, technically and structurally. Over time, what initially looked like a high barrier becomes a series of manageable steps and turns into a system organizations can rely on. For example, the Austrian Ministry of Economical Affairs started looking at Nextcloud in the late summer of 2024. And before the warm weather returned to Austria, the ministry had moved over. They chose a hybrid approach. There was a big pressure to move to Microsoft Teams as external organizations were adopting it. But the ministry was not willing to hand over control over their data by uploading it to OneDrive. Instead, Nextcloud's file storage was integrated in Microsoft Teams, making data available just as easily to everyone while remaining safely in their own data center. For video calls, Nextcloud Talk was used, nicely integrated in Outlook, and the team uses Talk for internal chat as well. Did we mention they migrated in less than 8 months? The next Austrian ministry is already in the process of migrating as well. In France, the Ministry of Education recently spoke about their rollout of Nextcloud to over 330,000 government employees, enabling a much easier collaboration within the ministry and with other ministries, like that of energy transition, which also uses Nextcloud. These are just 2 examples of the public sector moving to Nextcloud. While the public sector represents about 1/4 of our customers, hundreds of companies, educational organizations, and others move over every month.
So, let's summarize a little bit. If you're ready to really get digital sovereignty from concept to reality, Nextcloud Hub 26 Winter should be your next step. You own your platform and you take back control over your data. With 26 Winter, we added more federation features and your data stays mobile with easy import and export so you can migrate from one server to another. And of course, enterprise class security keeps even the most regulated setups compliant. Confidential data automations, advanced encryption, everything ensures a very high level of baseline security without affecting the collaboration between team members. Nextcloud Hub is designed to be easy to use and easy to manage. You benefit from an integrated platform that learns from people and is user-centric by design. Many updates in this release come in file management, groupware, the Nextcloud Assistant and everywhere else. And is now even more powerful and flexible. Improved performance and many other core improvements will make your work more efficient than ever before. Thank you for listening, because in the end it is a community that makes this really work. We are not just working as a small team in isolation. Over the years, thousands of developers, administrators, partners and users, as well as translators in our community, people helping out on the forum, all of these have contributed code, ideas, feedback, translations of course, and many other practical improvements. So their work, the discussions and commitments that they show are what allows the platform to evolve in a sustainable way. We as a company are merely a steward of this ecosystem that is much bigger than us, and therefore I really want to thank everybody who contributed for being part of our wonderful community. Thank you. Nextcloud is all of you.